Really?
You don't have to cover me too.
You're too funny.
Right, today we have a special guest. We have the knowledgeable Alex with us. Alexandra Munn, how would you like to be introduced?
That's fine, yeah.
Can you tell us what you do and what you specialise in?
Yes, thank you. Thank you both for having me today. My background is I'm an analytical chemist.
Okay.
And so that involves making medicines or researching, looking at drug trials and critiquing papers, and also educating clinicians like doctors, nurses, pharmacists on how to use various medicines. But about sort of 10 years ago, I looked at what was going on within the pharmaceutical world, which I was in, and I felt that so many patients were put on a drug and they were kept on it forever. And I just thought, that can't be right, because what's happening now is there's side effects from these drugs, and then these side effects, you've got to treat those as well. And so I started do my own research, and found that actually there's natural ways, and also it's about getting to the root cause, not just treating the symptom, but getting to the root cause. Yeah. So that's what I do. So I've worked in within pain therapy, sexual health, women's health, and nutrition as well.
Okay. Yeah. So what we're talking about today is what we want to get your advice on as well is health for the wealthy, in terms of, right now we're in I just read today that we're officially in recession now.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Good
read.
Yeah, well, I thought we was already in it, but yeah.
Now we're really in it. We're really in it.
With the official. But I think it's a lot of people have an excuse, or if it is that I can't afford to eat healthy or buy things that are healthy. What are your takes on that, in terms of, is it a thing where things are too expensive for people to survive if they're, living in standard living conditions, or?
Well, I think as well, it kind of does open up that debate, like, is healthy for the wealthy, because being healthy costs more money. Yeah. So I've got 3 kids, you've got soon to be 4 kids, Alex, you've got 3. Yeah. So, say you're out and about, we like a good Wagamama's. So that on average costs us about £80 every time we go to Wagamama's. Mm-hmm. That's literally just to have, your tropical fresh juices and, the healthy kids meals or whatever, versus going to McDonald's, where you would get a whole kids meal, everyone would eat for what, £20, I'd say. So you're really being healthy, or choosing the healthy option, is probably costing us 2 or 3 times more. And then, like you just said, we're in a recession, and then I know, like, even when I go to I get my chicken, my roast from the butchers, right? So for a roast leg of lamb, it's about £40. For a roast chicken, like a whole chicken, it's about £16. Between cheap is £12. If I go to Tesco and buy Tesco brand, it's probably about £5. Yes. I know it's full of cancer hormones, probably. But, obviously there is the temptation, especially when you're on a budget.
Of course, yeah.
And you have kids, and maybe you're not earning a certain level. There is a temptation, or even affordability issue, organic foods, organic fruit, it adds up.
Definitely. No, definitely. And it's a really good point you're making, Sarah, because a lot of my clients, when I'm speaking to them, they say, well, I can't afford doing organic all the time. And so we have to sort of find a balance. So one thing I always say to them, if they're going to do a green juice, it has to be organic. It cannot be, you can't scrimp and scrape there, because otherwise you're going to have concentrated pesticides in your juice, and you just don't want that.
Can
that
you
will make
explain
you
to us what pesticides are?
So pesticides,
you've been educating me on that.
Okay, so the chemicals that are sprayed on our produce, on our vegetables, our fruit, fresh, and it's to make sure that no pests, no insects are going to try and come and eat the vegetables or the produce. Okay. But then they contain harmful chemicals for us, and so a lot of the time, these chemicals, we ingest it, and all of us will have it in us because we've definitely ingested it somewhere. And it then has an effect on your gut, and it starts having an effect on the layer within your intestines, and that's when you start getting diseases. So when it comes to juices, I say organic, please.
So sorry, let me just ask a question because I need to understand things. So you're saying that these other non-organic things are sprayed with this chemical. So what do they do to preserve the organic fruit?
That's
and
the
veg?
thing. They don't. If you've noticed, they probably don't last. If you get a box of strawberries that are organic compared to a box that isn't
2-3
organic,
days.
you just notice that the organic one doesn't last long, because that's how we used to live. We used to just literally, you get your food and you eat it. But now, because of our pace of life and everything, we want to try and preserve these things. So
Okay.
so they won't last long, but that's a good
So
thing.
like juices that, for example, like an orange juice that doesn't go off for 3 months, that's not a good thing, right?
That's a telltale
Yeah.
From concentrate, bro.
Yeah.
It says from concentrate. Usually those ones.
Yeah, it's from concentrate.
Yeah.
So they're and it's
It's
definitely
like box
been
juices.
Yeah.
On the.
they're not.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
but
Okay.
some
not
of
good.
the ones like in Tesco where it says fresh orange juice, but then like when I read it and I'm like, but you don't go off
Yeah, they still have things
for
in them.
another
They've got
like
things in
2
them.
months.
Yeah,
like
that's
that
right.
doesn't sound right.
They still have things in them, as
Yeah.
you're saying, and so to just keep them, otherwise they won't. If when you make a juice,
Yeah.
you can't keep it longer
Yeah,
than
it's
sort of
actually-
4 days
yeah,
in
exactly.
the fridge. Yeah.
I wanted to ask. My kids eat a lot of fruit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I saw this on Instagram, but like I always wash their fruit. So I use like baking soda and either lemon juice or vinegar. I saw somewhere that it
Yeah,
removes
yeah.
pesticides and things like that. Is that true, or is there any other way to clean?
No, that is a really good way. So that was what I was
So
coming
then
to.
can we then
So-
go back to not buy the organic or no?
So the juicing side of things, I say definitely organic.
Yeah.
So I was going to come to the fact that
Okay.
if you've got fruits and vegetables,
Yeah.
so far as it hasn't been sprayed with a certain chemical called glyphosate, you can put your bicarbonate of soda into the water
Yeah.
and soak it in, put the fruits in, soak it
Yeah.
in for about 20 minutes, and
Okay.
that's fine. But if it's got glyphosate in it, glyphosate is a herbicide that is being used more and more, and that actually goes into the fruit.
Oh, wow.
So you can wash it and wash it and wash it, and it's still there.
So how would you know if it's was
That's the
sprayed with that?
thing. You'd have to do your research. Yeah. And
So
we
where-
got to
Walk
know
around
where.
with like a little testing,
Little testing.
like a lab.
I think they always usually have like something on them like says where they're from, and maybe
You can find out that way. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes you can tell what farm it's come from, and
Yeah.
then do your research. Oh, do you use glyphosate,
Yeah.
or is it another type of pesticide? It's a good. I
Okay.
think it's actually something that we should all be doing.
Yeah.
Because glyphosate, I've seen with so many of my clients, has caused problems for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a clip I saw someone talking about. There's a lot of tricks that like brands or supermarkets use to make it seem like something's healthy. Like I saw there's things that might say like the meat is grass fed, but all they have to do is feed the animal once
Yeah.
grass fed
Yeah.
to say
That's
you have to
right.
look for 100% grass fed or things like that. So it's
Yeah.
things they play with people's mind, and then even like little Snickers bars will say protein bars. It's like they're playing with popular words that's out there to make
Yes.
people like sort of
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all about marketing. They want to
Yeah.
sell their food. It's similar with medicines as well.
Yeah.
Conventional medicines. You want to sell the medicine, so you've got to make it as pleasing to the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. And there sometimes as well. So there's certain colours and E numbers.
Yeah.
They can change it a little bit, so it sounds like it's healthy, but it's still the same E number.
Yeah,
So you've
yeah.
just got to be very careful.
What's an
there.
E number?
So E number are additives and preservatives that are put into foods. So a lot of processed foods. So these are foods that are not fresh.
Yeah.
So your tinned foods, your packet foods, like your crisps and your baked beans and things like that, they'll have E numbers in them.
So what is
Just
a
to-
bad E number?
I don't know off head as in the actual number of the E number, but something like monosodium glutamate is one that you could look at. So that's usually seen. You can find that in sort of Chinese food. They use a lot of that just to sort of help give it either a taste or preservative. There's so many. There's like citric acid. So citric acid seems very innocent because you're like, oh, it's citric acid. You get it in orange juice, but it's not. It's actually synthesized type. So
Okay.
that also can cause problems for people when
Yeah.
they're taking.
So Dominic's always reading the back of everything and
Yeah, I've
showing
actually got
me
an app
the
I
back.
use.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
This isn't a promotion, but it's called Yuka, Y-U-K-A.
Oh, yes,
Have you
I've
seen
got
that?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What is it called?
You scan it, Y-U-K-A, Yuka.
Yaka.
So you scan it, it tells you what's in it, what's harmful.
Yes.
I was using this before, but now there's a guy I follow. It's just he promotes like sort of eating just single ingredient foods, because it's obviously the things that you're not always going to know what you're putting in, and if it's good or bad and things like that. So I tend to, like, for breakfast I might just have maybe eggs and avocados and things like that, and then like a protein and like broccoli and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
or Brussels sprouts and things. But I've sort of leaned towards not just buying things. They'll just make it seem healthy. Like you'll have a salad that's already prepared and things, but there's other things in those. It may seem healthy, but I think it's just a lot of marketing.
Yes.
Unless you do your research. So.
Yep. And as you're right. Even the salad, if it's not organic, it'll have pesticides and fertilizers and herbicides and all sorts. But also the packaging will be in a plastic container.
Yeah.
And so if it's in a plastic container, then guaranteed you're going to get microplastics coming into it. And that's something that a lot of us are having. They're actually finding babies have, they're finding microplastics in the placenta. So that's how much is in our body nowadays. Wow. Yeah, and it's just because a lot of our packaging has got lots of microplastics.
Plastic, almost everything. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So how do I, as an average working person or someone maybe living below the poverty line, because some people are obviously going to food banks to get their food, where you don't have the luxury of going with the app and checking everything or whatever. You kind of got to take what's given to you. So how do we get out of this thing where healthy is for the wealthy? Because it's not just food, it's access to doctors and private healthcare and and better education and then better housing, and then the debate just keeps on going on and on and on. So how do we as a general population create a healthy lifestyle, because then it goes into like affording gym memberships and all of that stuff. Like what would you say is a really easy thing to implement, where whether I'm on the higher end of the scale money wise, or if I'm on the lower end of the scale, what is the best thing where we can get away with those oven chips and nuggets and all that stuff, which I presume doesn't have anything in it that's good.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I was gonna say, I'm thinking that's bad.
So how do we get away with that? Because I work in some properties with some young people, and they live on oven foods because it's easy, it's cheap, and it's convenient. So what are other quick things that maybe will be really nutritious, that are on the cheaper side but that can be really healthy, quick fix meal options?
I think, just going back to what Dominic was saying, if fruits and veg, definitely have that as part of your diet, because so far as obviously you're washing it with the bicarbonate soda or certain sort of acids, vinegary type things. And what I would say though is there's, just sort of going back a bit, there's basic things that you can do even before food that I say for all of us we could benefit from. So simple things as sunlight. Sunlight is so powerful in the way it makes us feel and what it does to our body. So a simple thing for all your young people, they could do every morning, just make sure you just go outside. As soon as the sun comes out, go outside, allow the sunlight to shine into your eye. When you do that, what you find is you increase the hormone melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. And that not only gives you refreshing sleep at nighttime, but it helps your body to heal so much. So that if you are having to eat some of the not so good food for you, at least your body's fighting. Because I've got some clients where the diet isn't good, but some of the things that they do, even they have very sort of low stress. And so that makes a difference as well. And so even though their diet isn't good, they're very, very healthy. And it's interesting. And it's, you look at certain things that they do, they exercise, they're out in the sun a lot of the time. There's, and then going back to the food, you can have simple things like, if you can't be juicing, at least do things like put like wheatgrass in a glass of water. That could be your green juice. Wheatgrass will last you quite a long time because it comes in the powder and it lasts quite a long time. These are the kind of things that you could be doing because they will then be also increasing the oxygen in your body, which will then in turn help your organs to be working better. So there's a lot they can do.
So we should just get out of UK basically and get some
My
vitamin D.
husband will like this podcast. He'll be like, see, we're supposed to live near the ocean.
I mean, true,
living near the ocean is brilliant, I must admit. Not too
I have lived near the ocean, but what I did find though is I think that what I found is I think you eat better because, it's sunny, it's warm, you don't feel like having those heavy foods and everything else. But I also found on the flip side of that, a lot of people that live near the ocean and in the sun, they don't have better skin because they don't look after their skin. Because they're there constantly in the sun without any sunblock on, without any kind of protective layer. So I don't know. I think it also has its reverse.
Moderation.
Moderation. You're right.
Exactly.
You're right.
So I think that you have to look after yourself because even if you're watching and you do live somewhere in a warm climate, it's not now I'm good. Everything's being taken care of. You have to protect your skin and still your body and what you're taking in.
Absolutely. And I think it's just making sure you're not going out when it's super, super hot and it's just burning your skin. But I have got a thing about sunblock as well. There's there's certain ones you can use. Some of them can be quite harmful and can cause cancer, even though that's what we're trying to prevent. So I'd say if you are living in a hot country, go out in the morning time and allow the sun to go into your skin because you need it to absorb. And it takes time for it to really go in. So that's really important. Also, grounding is a brilliant thing to do. So I'm sure when you go on holiday and you're on the beach and you're walking, suddenly you just feel amazing, or you get back and you think, oh, I feel really good. And that's simple because we're meant to be in nature. We're not meant to be wearing socks and shoes all the time, but our feet should be on soil, on grass, anything that's natural. I remember I used to find it a bit strange when you hear people saying, I'm going to hug a tree. I'm like, oh, that's a bit... but it makes sense.
My friend just went on a date with a guy that said... she was a bit put off, but she said that every morning he wakes up at 4 a.m. and just goes and stands outside on the grass for half an hour. Maybe it's the way he put it to her. But yeah, that was their only date. Because she just found it a bit strange that he just stands there doing nothing for
just honestly
half an hour, but you're saying that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
So maybe she should go on a second date.
She should go on a second date.
No, it's dark outside.
He's onto a real thing.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'll let
but if he can do it in the sunlight, that would be better. Because then he's got the sun coming through as well.
I mean, I think it's funny how times we're in now, everything's so overcomplicated, and just 100 years or 200 years ago, things were so simple. And eating was so simple. Or even if you go back home to like Caribbean, the way they eat, and I'm almost envious that you can't just go somewhere and pick a fruit off the tree in this country or eat healthy. It's such a hard thing to find here that they've almost it's overpopulated, and it's a city where we don't even have those. We can't go out and get those things or find those things. It's such a hard thing to do now, where they've put us in this corner where we almost have to either pay what we're saying with prices of organic food or suffer and buy the food.
But we could grow some of our own foods.
I feel like even then, soils and there's almost everything.
You've got to get the organic soil and make sure it's, I guess there's so much. But you can do, I mean, as you say, but it's a lot, isn't it, for us? And I mean, you make a really good point, Dominic, because I know one of my clients who he was struggling a lot with his health, and he lives in the UK, and he went to the Caribbean for just about, I think it was like 4 weeks he was there. And whilst he was there, he just started feeling amazing. Now, he did have erectile dysfunction. And so when he went there, he noticed that it changed. Everything had become normal for him. And so I sort of checked, where he was, what kind of food they have. And in the Caribbean, I've noticed that the quality of food is a lot better than here. So they're not feeding their cows and their sheep and their goats all these hormones. And so that has such a big effect, and that's something I just wanted to sort of just mention because some of my clients do have this problem, and usually it's because of what they're eating. If they're big meat eaters, they will be having lots of hormones, which is making them produce more estrogen, and men shouldn't be having so much estrogen in their body. And so when he came back, everything reverted back to the whole, he had the issues again. So it was a big telltale sign that actually the food you're eating really isn't good for you. And so you do need to change things up. He doesn't have a big budget, and so it was just coming back to the same things like grounding and going in the light, going in sunlight, making sure that another thing that comes up so many times, and in the Bible it comes up 157 times, is gratitude. And just waking up and knowing that you're grateful, it changes you. It just, so these are the simple things that you can just do. Just know that actually the fact that you've got breath today, be grateful. And so, so these are the things I've been sort of trying to teach some of my clients that, are struggling a little bit, but there's ways that can, they can improve.
For those of us that maybe are willing to make that investment and say, you know what, I'm willing to put aside an extra whatever a month to really invest in my body and invest in my health and invest in whatever, what should our day-to-day healthy lifestyle look like? Like, should we be eating at certain times? Like, how should we start our day? I'm a big smoothie breakfast person. I haven't had my breakfast this morning, so I'm actually really hungry. Because I feel it when I don't have breakfast. I feel it. Like, some people can go without breakfast. I feel like I could go without lunch and dinner over breakfast. Okay. So what should I be eating? I know that we've had this conversation in the past. I was loving the oats, and you were like, maybe not me now. And I was like, to the heart. I had oats in my smoothies. I had oats, actual oats. So what should we be doing? What should a good, healthy, perfect, if we had all the money in the world, day look like?
Right. So everybody's such an individual. They really, really are. So in your case, I felt definitely don't have oats anymore because
love oats.
Oats have a lot. I know you love oats. I know. Because oats has a lot of glyphosate in it. We're finding it's got lots of pesticides, and even some of the organic, some of it sort of slipped in. And so we do need to be careful there. And what's great, actually, you've noticed a difference, haven't you, since you've come off oats? So that's brilliant. But I would say, if we were to be generalized, if you're going to have breakfast, start it with a green juice. I think green juices make such a difference, or your wheatgrass, or something that's green. And the reason I love green, you probably hear me talk a lot about green juices, and the reason I like it is because in the green juice there's something that is literally identical to hemoglobin. So it's the chlorophyll, the green pigment in green juices. So it's identical to hemoglobin, and hemoglobin takes oxygen to all the different parts of the body. So when you're having your green juice, you're increasing the amount of oxygen in your body, which then gives you energy, which then heals your body. I prefer juices. I love smoothies, by the way, but if you're trying to heal your body, I prefer juices, because juices, when you have it, it means that your stomach doesn't have to do so much work to digest. And so when it's not digesting, it's having an effect on your organs. Your organs are now going to be healing. When you're taking a smoothie, your stomach still has to do a bit more digestion. It's still very good because you're still getting nutrients, but that's the difference. So I'd say start off with a green juice. Intermittent fasting. I know Dominic was saying, it'd be good for you to share actually that you've had some great success there, haven't you?
Yeah, I've done. So basically, 2022, I made a decision to sort of start intermittent fasting. I put on a lot of weight, just from I blame marriage and all that.
You're eating.
Yeah, I just wasn't
enjoying life.
Yeah, I was at a point before, maybe 6-7 years ago before that, I was really on my fitness and stuff, and it sort of I had a shoulder surgery, and I just declined, and I couldn't sort of get back on top of it. And I looked at myself at a point, and I said, I have to do something. So I decided to do intermittent fasting. So every Sunday, I used to fast. I have my last meal about 5 o'clock on Sunday, and then I'd fast 36 hours, so till Tuesday. I've done that every week, and then I lost, I think, about 10 kg by September, August time. So that was from like March, from my wife's birthday.
So you were from Tuesday through to Sunday. You were eating normal.
Yes, but my last meal would be about 4 or 5 o'clock.
Right.
So during the week, you'd have your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner.
Yeah, I'd probably actually start eating about 10 a.m. my first meal, and my last meal about 2 or 3 o'clock.
Right.
So I'd probably have about 2 meals. I don't know if that was good, but it worked for me.
No, it works for you. That's the thing. Everybody it's such an individual thing.
Yeah.
I like the idea of losing 10 kg.
Oh, that sounds amazing. That's
obviously I was going gym. Yeah, I was going gym.
So you were doing gym as well.
Gym. I was skipping.
And then what were you eating? Oh, so you were doing boxing and skipping as well.
Yeah, so I was determined to lose the weight. So but yeah, I was eating not necessarily like the best, but it wasn't like bad foods. But I tried to eat moderately. If my wife cooked, then obviously I'd eat certain things.
Yeah.
But I saw a huge difference. And then this year, after we done fasting in church, I felt it was pretty easy, the fast that we were doing. So last week I thought...
I found that really hard, actually.
Is it? You're a breakfast person, that's why.
Yeah, I found it really hard. Yeah. I found it harder than the normal fasting.
Side note, I think the next month's going to be harder because everyone's reverted back to eating
I think
early,
so, yeah.
Thanks, Dominic.
But this was probably a fast I've seen the most difference in terms of the longevity. So I've done it for I think I've done 5 days. I aim for 6, but... what I saw, the first 2-3 days was quite hard.
It's always been hard,
You know, you feel a bit lethargic in the second day, third day. And then my energy sort of coming back up. And I was just, every day, I was weighing myself morning and night. Every day just to see the difference. And I was losing weight. I was still going gym and stuff, boxing. And then it's almost like you can feel your body like cleansing itself. And then I told you like my dreams were became super vivid. I don't know how foods was affecting that in terms of what goes to your brain and stuff, but it's like all the dreams I was dreaming almost every day, and it's like almost felt like reality and stuff. I was trying to wake up and write down what I was dreaming, but I think I dreamt that I was writing it down.
That's how much.
That's how vivid it was. So I woke up, looked at my notepad, there's nothing on this. But it was just like, I felt really good after. It was just like the last point. I remember Kayla's play. I was just almost like, at the last point, I was like, okay, I have to eat tomorrow. But it's good to sort of stretch my limit and see how I feel. Even now, when I eat certain foods that's not good for me, I notice my body almost rejects it immediately, and I have to almost get rid of it. So it's actually interesting how your body repairs itself. And there's a thing, I've forgotten what it's called now. There's a part where when you're fasting, your body goes into
autophagy.
So that's like where your body just starts repairing itself.
That's right. Because the cells start healing or dying off. So we've all got cells that have got just slight sort of malfunction to it, and unfortunately if you just carry on having this bad lifestyle, they'll start getting worse. But what you were doing, which was perfect, was you allowed these cells in your body just to literally die off or repair themselves, and so that's why you felt amazing afterwards. I mean, you usually go into autophagy after 17 hours. So Sarah, you probably noticed that I made sure it was 17 hours that you would be having the fast, because I wanted your body to start going into autophagy. And it just it's amazing. It's amazing how you feel.
It makes since I've started the intermittent fasting and ending my last meal at 2-3 o'clock, it just feels, I don't even know how to describe it. And I think that the hardest part is you actually training yourself out of habits.
Yes.
Because you're actually not hungry. I think a lot of times what I found at night is I want to eat because I feel like I should eat. as opposed to the fact that I actually need to eat.
You don't need to
And
eat,
I think that if you can kind of change your habit and your lifestyle, I think that it will make a huge difference. But it's kind of that thing, well, oh, the family's coming home, they're going to eat. I need to eat with them or whatever. But I found personally, the minute I hit 43, I don't know what happened, but it's like the weight just literally, it was like a magnet, like, you know, like Iron Man, where the suit's coming on him. It was like, fat, I'll come to you. And I was like, and I'm traumatized because I don't want to be fat. I can't be fat. I haven't ever been fat in my life. So,
and you're still not, by the way.
There's no hate, there's no shade on anyone that wants to be thick, but that just doesn't suit me. Like, it's not my frame, it's not my natural makeup. So for me, fat, I don't look thick, I just look fat. Like, I don't look like, there's no Beyonce vibe going on, nothing. I've just, it just goes in all the wrong places. So for me, it doesn't work. And so for me, intermittent fasting
has really helped you.
It's a vibe for me. It needs to happen.
Excellent.
And even like actually the last few days, I've been like, you know what, let me eat with the family, and I've put on weight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
So what time is that you usually eat?
Like 5.
Okay.
Right. So that's a good point you're making there. So I was saying to Sarah actually just recently that I would like her to do a hair strand test so that we can look at exactly what foods her body doesn't tolerate. Because as I say, everyone's so different. So for me, I thought I was being very healthy. I have hummus with literally everything. Having plantain. I'm having it with.
Into the hummus right now.
Oh really? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I love it. But then when I did my my hair analysis, it said that keep off it, avoid it, because it wasn't doing my body any good. But for somebody else, it would be amazing for them. So when you said that, I think there's something you're eating in your diet that maybe we have to remove. Probably very healthy for most people, but for Sarah, it's not. So that's something I would say most people should do, is do some kind of analysis so you know what you're deficient in. You know what kind of bacteria you're lacking in your gut. That's another good thing to know. So when you do when you go for autophagy, by the way, you get your good bacteria starts growing more, and so then that helps you to lose weight. It helps you to feel better. It helps with diseases. I mean, there's so many benefits to doing the fasting. You're just literally, you don't even realize how many cancer cells you've killed off just by doing a 17-hour fast.
Wow.
That's how amazing it is. Yeah.
Go on.
I was going to ask, what's is ketosis? What happens after then?
Yeah, so ketosis.
That's using big words.
No, 'cause I got an app that I use when I'm fasting.
Okay.
So it tells me everything that I'm sort of what's going on, and so it tells me when I was doing it. It tells me I was in ketosis, then I went into deep ketosis.
What's the app called?
There's a few. I think the one I was using was it Simple? Let me just double check. Simple was the first one I used when I first started losing weight, and the other one's Zero. So it just helps you track. It tells you how long you got left and count down and stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, with ketosis, and I can't say I'm an expert in ketosis at all, but I know that when you fast, it's quite easy to go into ketosis after between 17 hours to 24 hours. You can go into ketosis, and that's when you have the ultimate fat burning, ultimate disease killing, things are going on in your body. So definitely you can go into ketosis. But as I say, I need to know a bit more about ketosis. It's one of my next things.
And even what you were saying with the test, like the hair strand test, I need to do mine as well, because I'd done one before. My friend does it, but it wasn't many things he tested for me. But one thing that came up was strawberries.
See, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and I've always been put off strawberries because every time I eat them, there's like the roof of my mouth, something like it feels funny afterwards. So I never eat strawberries. So it's funny how that came up, and lactose and wheat and gluten was the other things.
I mean, that's the lactose one is usually quite common, but it's not for everyone. So I was surprised. I actually thought keep away from wheat. I mean, I've got a thing about gluten and everything anyway, but when it came up on my intolerance test, it said that actually wasn't the the wheat that was bad for me. It was the dairy. So I'd put cheese on my bread and spread on the butter and whatever. And that was what was actually not good for me. So everybody, as I say, everyone's so different, really different. And strawberry, I mean, you'd never think strawberry would be
yes,
bad
it's
for you,
things that you
wouldn't it?
don't. Again, it's just individuals, isn't it?
Yes, that's very much the case. Yeah,
And-
yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, so going back to the green juice,
Yes.
what should be in the juice? What green things should we be putting in? Is it anything green, or is it like...
No, not any
Okay.
green. So, and that's the thing. So initially when I started off with green juices many years ago, I just thought, put in the spinach, the kale, the this. But I found out that spinach and kale contain something called oxalates, and oxalates literally strip out your nutrients. So so when you're having like your amazing, healthy meal, because you've had the green juice, the oxalates could be, some of the green juice, depending on what you put in it, can strip it out. So that's something you've got to be careful of. So I always keep it quite simple. Celery, cucumber, ginger, lemon, and sometimes put in some wheatgrass as well, just to make it.
So the lemon whole, or...
I put the whole, so if it's organic, put the whole lemon, because we need the peel. We need the peel. That
So
really
that was
helps.
what? Celery,
cucumber, ginger,
lemon.
and then wheatgrass. And then sometimes, which I've been doing for yourself, is I put parsley in, because parsley is a great diuretic, where it pulls out toxins out of your body.
Yeah.
And so whenever people take it, they do urinate quite a lot, but it's a good thing, because you're actually pulling out things out of
And
your body.
all of these should be completely organic.
Yes,
Yeah.
because it's a juice. Yeah.
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 Okay. What are you gonna ask?
Yeah, if like I said with the lactose issue and the dairy that we got, we started using like the dairy-free butter and things like that. And then I saw someone else post things like, "What's in these?" and it's actually worse for you than butter. It's like, so
I know you can't.
it's like they got you cornered.
But then
These things, so-
wouldn't logic say that organic, like natural, make your own butter is the healthiest?
That would be the ideal. You
Yeah.
can get a cow, pasture raised cow, and
Yeah,
that would
make
be
your
the
butter,
ideal. That would be the ideal. But
So after this, we're gonna buy a cow. We're gonna buy chicken.
Literally
We'll
just
buy
like, get your own
pig.
farm.
get our own
basically.
farm. Let's get our farm. Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Actually, yeah.
Literally, me and my friend talk about that all the time. Like, we need to
think
buy
it's a
just
great
land
thing.
and
Yeah,
build our
yeah.
own, like do our own veg. And I don't know how much you know about like copper and how it affects our bodies and things. Because I saw there's this woman growing her own veg, but she used like a rod, and she put copper around the rod and made sort of like antenna and stuck it next to the veg. And the size of the veg that she was getting afterwards was like 3-4 times the size of just the average vegetable.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know if you know anything.
I've never
about
heard of
this.
that, actually. That's really
Okay.
interesting. I know that we do need a little bit of copper in
Yeah.
our body, but when you have too much,
Yeah.
it can cause you to have early sort of graying of the hair,
Okay.
feel tired. Sometimes you have those copper IUDs for contraception. They use is made of copper, and that's not actually very good for you either.
Yeah.
So it really varies. I've never heard of that though.
Yeah,
that's-
I sent it to my mum.
I wonder
the other day.
did they say why it was particularly
No,
good?
I was going to do some research on it and find out
Yeah.
what it was.
Let
But
me
even
know. I'd
my
like
granddad
to-
used to wear like copper bracelets because he had
Yeah,
arthritis
I
and things like that.
Right. Yes,
just
I've
wonder what
heard.
the-
I've heard copper does. There's certain metals that you can wear
Yeah.
that can help with healing. But
Yeah.
then I know that when you ingest it, if you have too much, it
Yeah.
can. But then as I say, we do need it. We
Yeah.
need copper in our body.
Okay.
Yeah, and that comes up in the intolerance test as well. It will
Oh,
tell
really?
me. It will
If-
tell me if you've got too little or too much.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit, okay, Alex is cutting some of my hair off.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much do
yeah.
you need? Just shave
No,
that one
mate,
side.
No, not much.
strands,
Yeah,
okay.
shave up the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah, I'll
just
do.
all-
What's it? What's that girl that dated?
Cassie, yeah.
Shave off one side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so we've got the green smoothie.
Yeah.
If we actually want to eat something,
Yeah.
what I typically tend to have is like 2 boiled eggs and avocado.
Okay.
That's what I tend to have. So I usually have like a smoothie or a juice, and then my avocado and boiled eggs.
Okay.
Is
Yeah.
that good?
That's
Is that not good?
No, that's
Yeah,
good because
okay.
you've got avocado is amazing for.
I love avocado.
Yeah, it's got really good fat, and I think in the past it was given sort of a bit of a bad rap because it's very full of fat, but it's good fat that we need, and I think that's really important actually. That we should be having fat in our diet because one, it keeps you full, but also it helps with the cell formation and everything. So that's so important.
So if I wanted, because I do like the feeling of the oats in my smoothie, so is there another option that I can have that will give me that same vibe? I do like a thick smoothie.
I heard that the thinner oats are more processed though. Like it's better to get a jumbo, but either way, I don't think they're good.
What could you use to sort of make it thicker? I mean, as I say, it'd be good to do the test, that analysis test, because then it will give me options as to what you really should be eating. And there may be things that I've thought, oh, maybe you shouldn't have it, but then you're not reacting to it, so we can put it in. Yeah. Okay. So we'll have a look at that.
And then let's get to, well, for me, it's lunch / dinner.
Yes.
So I don't tend to usually have dinner.
Okay.
I usually have like a big lunch.
Yeah.
And then that's what keeps me till the following day.
Yeah.
So what should I be eating? Because what I wanted to ask actually, I feel like a lot of bad habits or even diseases are inherited because of cultural passing down. So for example, with the average black person, rice is a staple, whereas I think rice and me are arch enemies.
Right.
I love it, like it, but I just don't think my body does.
Okay. What happens?
I feel like I put on weight.
I
feel like I bloat.
Enjoy it,
Okay.
So say like a corned beef and rice.
I love a corned beef and rice, or chicken and rice, or anything and rice. But I don't feel like, so Dominic gave me some rice yesterday, and it's the first time I've had it in literally forever, and it's probably the worst possible rice. It's like jerk chicken and rice. Rice and peas. So it's probably got like 500 million calories in it. But I felt really fat. Afterwards, really fat. And really bloated.
Right. So
until now I still feel a bit bloated.
Okay. So obviously, you definitely that your body doesn't like it.
It's his fault.
Why did you go and have such a lovely meal?
Literally, I was talking to say about this was it yesterday about cultural. People think certain diseases are hereditary, but it's literally just how you're eating the same way your parents did and how their parents did. So, like Indians and Caribbeans and things like that, we eat very, or maybe oily, or
and stuff that's very
rich,
heavy in the gut. Like I don't know a lot about the gut and your colonic irrigation and all that, but I would say like you can see that this stuff is gonna not be good inside.
No, I think also I've seen studies where they say you should eat from where you originate from, because that's how you'd because we really as black people shouldn't really be having lots and lots of pasta and pizza because we're not based in Italy, we're not, that's not where so we should be looking at more the things that would have been eaten in Africa, the Caribbean, or India, or so that's something that I find really fascinating actually. And sometimes if somebody is presenting as just having lots of side effects from foods, I'll say, okay, where are you from? Let's go back to that. If you're British, no more curries. Let's just look at the normal staple British diet with your potatoes and things, and it works for them. It's really interesting how it works. Not everybody, because obviously everyone's quite mixed as well, and so there'll be certain parts of your genes that will have more of one thing than the other. So it's not everybody, but I do find that it can work on a lot of people.
But do you think as black people we eat too much rice?
Definitely, we eat a lot of rice, and a lot of the time the food that we're having as well can be quite processed. So even the ingredients that we're putting in, sometimes they're not always fresh or haven't been sort of tampered with some way, and so I think that also has an effect.
Okay, I've got a question. This might be controversial. Should we wash our chicken?
Wash our chicken, yes.
Okay, that's good.
Because there's a lot on Instagram
people try to say you
saying that you are spreading salmonella.
I've heard that,
Well, you're not slapping it around the kitchen.
Well,
Yeah.
Slap it on the
I just,
cabinets.
for me personally, because I do know your, because when I was doing health and safety, for food health and
Yeah.
safety, they said do not wash your meats, and I was like, no way, you can't wash your meats. But I personally feel I would like to wash my meat.
Yes, I cannot. I feel like you can taste
The
like the different. If
chemicals
you
and
go out to a
stuff,
restaurant,
yeah.
and even then, that's sort of stopped me going out to restaurants. So I think, how do they cook this meat or wash this
Yeah.
meat?
They don't.
Yeah,
You don't even think about it when you
No.
go
Yeah,
out. You
yeah,
just
yeah.
eat. If it tastes good, you're happy.
Yeah.
But a lot of them, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not washing the meat or So that sort of put me off. I was gonna at Nando's and see if they wash their chicken.
They don't wash their chicken, Nando's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it sort of
No,
put me
it's
off.
true.
There's no way they're washing their
No, they're probably
chicken.
not.
I'm telling you that now. There's no way Nando's is washing their
And it's
chicken.
straight out of the pack. onto the
Yeah, like
Straight
I'm married to someone of Caucasian,
Yeah.
from the mountain of Caucasus.
Caucasian heritage,
Yes.
and it's straight out the packet and into the thing. Like now, obviously, with training,
If you're in the house, you
yeah.
have a quick look around.
That's not it. And the first time I remember, I was like, just because, forget even culturally, like logically, like this has been in a packet.
Yeah,
It's
you don't even know.
it's
it's been-
passed
yeah.
through people's
Yeah,
hands,
yeah.
like just practically. So I'm a big
Even from the
fan
farm
of just
or
wash the meat.
butchers. I'm still washing the
I
chicken.
still wanna
Even
wash
if
it.
you want to
Yeah,
make yourself feel
definitely.
better, get a little tub that's only for washing the meat, so it's not straight in your sink or whatever.
Yeah.
But wash your meat.
I would agree with
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
get rid of all those
definitely.
nasties,
Yeah.
and not only actually wash it, gets that lemon out.
We'll get like vinegar or something.
Yeah,
just
just
Yeah,
something
I
to
use all
add
of
to
it.
the washing.
Yeah.
of
I think
the
I wash
meat.
everything I actually eat when I think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
your veg, your rice, you wash it. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do. You don't
And that's
want to
another
just
thing. A lot of
straight-
people don't wash their rice.
yeah.
See, that surprises me because that's got a lot of sort of impurities. So
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
would want
and you
to
see
get
it when
You
you
see-
pour it
Yeah,
out.
you
It's,
do.
it's actually
You do.
dirty.
Yeah. Because I remember, back, when I was a little girl, my mum would actually soak it for a while
Yeah, leave it,
before
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
They probably do it a lot quicker than they used
Yeah,
to.
yeah. So it's interesting that they don't.
Mm.
And also you see rice, especially brown rice, has
Yeah.
arsenic in it. So you do need to soak it
Wow, yeah.
to try and
I
get.
thought
the
brown
arsenic.
rice would be better for you.
Brown rice is probably better because it's whole
I
grain.
had it for the first time the other day. It was a bit worrying.
it?
Yeah, but now you're saying it's got
No, I mean,
arsenic in it.
fine. What I was going to say, a lovely alternative to rice is
Cauliflower.
wild rice. It's
Okay,
a black.
okay.
I don't know if you've seen it in the shops. It's a black rice.
I used to buy that actually.
Did
yeah.
you? Did you like
Yeah.
it?
Actually, yeah, it would taste the same to me. It's just a little bit different taste.
A little bit nutty.
Yeah, a
isn't
bit
it?
of
It's
like a nutty taste, but it's I actually like it to be honest. when
Yeah.
it's having it, yeah.
Yeah, it's got, so that's a lovely, because that's made from, it's actually grass
Okay.
that they've made into rice.
Oh.
Yeah, a certain grass, not the
Yeah.
one that you,
Yeah.
And
So
um,
in the pot, like,
Come on.
Come on, kids,
Alex
do this.
said that you will become rice.
yeah, not that one, please.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can get it, and it's not. I don't see it so much in the major supermarkets though
Yeah.
now.
That's
So
true,
I always
yeah.
get mine because my mum can't have grains, and so
Okay.
I get that for her, and I get it online. But yeah, that's a nice way of just sort of accompanying your chicken,
Yeah.
for instance, with some like wild rice. So it looks very black. It's
Mm.
very sort of black looking.
And should we be eating all meats, or is there some meats we should be avoiding?
Right, so this is really interesting. So you probably see on the internet, there's so many people that say, don't eat meat at all. It's so
Yeah.
bad for you. And I think in moderation, and I must admit, I'm one of those people, if you can eat organic, because the meats that we have now, they're filled with antibiotics, hormones, pesticides, fertilizer. I mean, there's just so much stuff. And so really, we're not even eating proper meat anymore. So I would say, yeah, meat is good, but make sure it's as clean as possible.
So if we get it from the butchers, is that pretty good, or should we be actually going to the farms?
Ideally, the farm. Ideally. But if you're going to the butcher, is it organic meat you're having?
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
why
You presume so, innit?
Oh, we presume so. That's
See,
why you're
that's it.
paying like 3
That's
times
it.
that's the
the
thing,
amount.
yeah. Now
Check
you think
and
about
see.
it.
Just double check and see,
Yeah.
because sometimes not all of them that will do the organic. Yeah.
Because it's not in a pack, you probably
Yeah,
presume it's
yeah.
not.
And
Yeah.
then fish as well. Fish, I think fish is so good for us, but a lot of it is farmed.
Yeah.
And so it's not actually, they're not catching it from the ocean.
Yeah.
They're literally growing them
Yeah.
themselves. So they're throwing in the hormones again. On top of that, one of my favorite topics, what am I going to say? Parasites.
So I was going to
Yes,
ask
I was
about
gonna get onto
They're
that as well.
full of parasites.
Yeah.
Fish is full of parasites.
Salmon as well. You see the black light on there. You see it all like, oh my god.
And, you know, and it's something that's been a bit of an eye-opener for me, parasites, because, as I say, I had some clients that were just not getting well and they're doing all the right things.
Yeah.
The moment they eliminated the parasites, suddenly
It's better.
their blood pressures come back to normal, their cholesterol, everything has come back to normal,
Yeah.
blood sugar. And so definitely I would say all of us should be doing a parasite cleanse
Yeah.
every change of season.
Okay.
Even if we're well, we
Yeah.
should be doing it because we all have them in our gut.
Yeah.
I had, you know, that worming thing that I told you about, Dom, Ovex? Ovex?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
worming thing. I actually was speaking to a Portuguese lady at football the other day when I was waiting for my kids, and she said in their culture, in Portuguese culture, the whole family takes the Ovex twice a year.
Yeah.
They literally just, not for
Yeah.
any reason, they just take it twice a year as a cultural thing.
Which is really good.
And I was like, that's actually really interesting. I've never
yeah.
thought about that.
Yeah.
You know, we usually wait till there's
Someone's
some
got
kind
it.
of
There's
and then,
some kind of infestation, and
Yeah.
then because it's so good to do that. I know that in a lot of sort of African Caribbean cultures, my husband was saying that they used to do this thing. The whole family would call it, I think it's a washout, and everyone has to have this laxative just to just clean them out completely. And it was just something they just accepted. They did it, and I said, you don't know how much that was so good for you guys, you know. And in Ghana, the same
They do
thing.
the same
You
thing,
know,
yeah.
they used to do that. They've stopped it. A lot of people have stopped it now, but.
Is it called Jetty Jetty? I think there's one.
Oh, this one's
what's the
called
one that
Bentois.
Grandad
They
used
use
to
Yeah.
give us that was
I think
really
all black
bitter?
cultures do that, or they did.
They did
the
before.
previous our
Yeah.
generation. Yeah.
Is it Cersei?
Cersei? I think
Cersei.
it's-
Is it Cersei tea? No, but he'd
Cersei.
boil it on the. He'd boil it
horrible.
on
It
the
had, like,
thing,
bark and
and
stuff in it,
literally
yeah.
he'd call you down, Sarah, come, and then he'd hold you, and he'd be like,
Yeah, drink
and you'd
it.
have to back it.
That is brilliant.
But and he's like, clean your blood, it cleans your blood. I don't know if it
No,
cleans
no,
my
no.
blood or not.
Yeah.
Do
But
you know, it's bitter, isn't it?
yeah,
Very.
very bitter.
And bitter, I didn't realize how much bitter is so good because it causes, whenever we have anything bitter, so far as obviously healthy
Parasites will
bitter.
be hit as well.
Well, what it does, it increases the acid in your stomach, which we need because a lot of us, our acid is low, and that's why we're having parasites. Because the moment we're ingesting parasites, we don't have enough acid, and so it doesn't kill the parasite, and then it's able to go down the gut and into your intestines, and then sometimes it can go into your blood, sometimes it can go into your brain, which is very, very dangerous. I mean, it's rare, but you know it can happen. And so when you have the bitter, it increases the acid. It also creates lots of enzymes in your mouth, and helps digestion. So that
So
makes
is
sense.
there a test that you could do to see these parasites? Because I follow like quite a few people on Instagram, and I've seen a lot of them are doing now like these like extra, like that you can't get through the NHS or whatever, blood tests, and where they literally look into you and they see like all of your like white chromosomes and this whatever, and I don't know what they're called. I don't know if they exist in this country because they are in America, the people that I follow, but it's like almost like a trend now where people are actually going and doing full like MRIs, but it's like more intensive than an MRI from what I've seen.
There are places that you can do it, not so much as America, definitely. They're quite specialized places. But what I tend to do, if you go to the GP and you have a blood test, there's certain markers that will tell me if you've got a parasite or you're likely to have a parasite infestation. So there's one called eosinophils, and it's sort of around where you'd look at the white blood cells, and if it's quite high, I would know that you've got parasites, and so we need to do something.
But can you actually like?
Do you mean
look?
like to go?
I would like
You'd
to.
like
look,
to? Why would
yes.
you want to look at that?
I would.
Yeah,
I
you
think
got to
that's
see them all just everywhere.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like,
then it would keep me. It would like that's enough for me. Then I'd be like, right, organic. Everything's organic.
Yeah, it's quite. I mean, I do get asked with the parasite cleanses when my clients do it. They do ask me, will I see? Because some people are quite traumatized. by
Yeah,
things
like-
I
like
would
that.
actually find it really fascinating.
so
Whereas-
you'd be traumatized. You'd be like the Cersei, like drinking the whole thing, like bathing in it,
We're just bathing in Cersei today.
literally. So
Sorry, I just need to share this as a side note. The youth traumatized me. I can't remember. Mackenzie's here now. One of them said that we actually have these little things. Was it Mackenzie? That basically there's these little things that live on your face, like these little bugs. The little mites, mate. I have had that bay rum out twice a day because I was actually thinking about it this morning. I was like, it's not enough, and I'm like, literally. So yeah, I like to be clean.
Okay, this is a really good point actually. So going back to maybe sort of 40, 50 years ago, you find that certain people don't. I mean, a lot of the older people won't have sort of body odor, so they don't suffer from BO, and that's because they had certain bacteria on their body that just lives there, and it helps. So some of these, I don't know what this bug was that you've sent you, but a lot of them were meant to have these things on us, so that it helps with. So I was like,
I'll produce my own. I'll use deodorant.
Because, when you have that, they're killing things,
Okay, I'm going to kill it myself.
It's your protective layer, Sarah.
No, I don't want anything on me.
You've got lots of bacteria all over you. Something but they're doing their work. They're doing good things for us, so definitely. So sometimes when we put too much stuff on our bodies, that can get rid of the bacteria. And hence why nowadays majority of us will have to use deodorants but the older ones, they don't actually have an odor on them, which is so interesting. I just thought, that's an interesting one. But another thing I was going to say, sleep is such a big thing. So that's one of the things that anyone really, really important if you can get to bed before 10. Sarah knows I say this to her all the time. But you got better actually, haven't you?
Yeah, it's only if I'm working. If I'm at home, to be honest now, like, when 10 o'clock comes, I'm struggling.
Right.
I'm really tired.
Which is good. So that means now, because before you were not, were you?
No.
Because what happened was, and a lot of people do this, they'd overridden the melatonin, the sleep hormone. So then when you override it, then you've got more energy at night time. And you hear people say, I'm a night person. It's because all they've done is they've overridden the sleep hormone. And so they're working late at night. But then the cortisol levels that were meant to come down in the evening, because the cortisol levels are stress hormones. We need that now during this time of day. We need lots of cortisol to get us going, but they should come down. But they actually stay high at nighttime if you're overriding it. So you wake up and then you feel some people can feel quite anxious, like they have to have their coffee and they've got to, so it's a whole load of things that you need to be careful of. And there's so many studies now showing that if you sleep before 10 o'clock, you have one more refreshing sleep, but your body starts healing. So it really starts healing. And these are like toxins that you've gathered around the day. So even being in here is a beautiful studio, it's clean, but guaranteed there'll be some materials that will have toxins in it, because that's we just live in a toxic, world. And so you've probably breathed it in, but then your body is amazing. It will just get rid of the toxins. But if you're not sleeping between 10 and 12, guess what? That's not really going to be happening. And there's an hour for each organ to start repairing itself. So 3 o'clock, I think, is the lungs, if I remember correctly. But every hour has something. And sort of digressing a little bit, but if you're looking to conceive, they say the best time to conceive would be sort of morning around 8 o'clock, because that's when your ovary is sort of at its optimum.
Wow. Okay.
And then going back to the parasites, so do you recommend, because I know my sister, she used to do like colonic irrigations like regularly, like every however long. I've never done one before. I don't know if it's like a big, like, knowledgeable thing that people do. Would you recommend, and if so, how often would you recommend doing a colonic irrigation?
So you've got two types of sort of irrigation. So you've got the colonic and you've got the enemas. I talk a lot about the enemas. So the colonic goes further up your intestines. The enemas deal more with your colon, so the lower intestine. I personally prefer the enemas because it's dealing with the colon. And that's where a lot of sort of absorption will take place. And so if you've got parasites there, you're literally, you'll get into those parasites. If you're doing, a great thing to do actually is to do a parasite cleanse and an enema, because then as they're dying off, you're literally taking out the parasites out of your body really quickly as well. I know a lot of men don't like that whole...
It's very intrusive.
Very intrusive, okay.
Do you want to explain what the process is?
Right, so the process is... Somebody's like, oh no, is she going to say this? But it's it's very much you have a tube that goes into your rectum, into your bottom, and it goes and it's usually a liquid. So what I prefer to use is coffee, because coffee is brilliant at cleaning up the liver. So the coffee is heated. It's not like your normal coffee, by the way. Yeah. It's a special coffee, and so it'll be heated in water. You drain out the water, and then you use it, and then you put it, as I say, into your bottom, and then the water goes in and cleans out your intestines.
So when you drink the coffee first, right?
No, you don't drink it. It goes straight into your bottom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a tube. It's a tube that you use, and it just literally goes in. And
was this a home kit, or do you go somewhere?
You can go somewhere, or you can have a home kit. It's quite easy to do at home, actually.
So you said the colonic irrigation is higher up.
It's higher up.
So would you recommend everyone should do that once in their life, or?
So colonic irrigation, I'd say probably do it just once or twice a year, because as I say, it's going quite high up. But the coffee enema, you can do it every month, every 2 weeks. It really depends. Some people, if they've got, for instance, if they've got cancer, they're doing it about 7 times a day, because their body's so toxic, so they need to get as much of the toxins out. But if you're just, normal health, it's good to do it maybe sort of 2 to 4 weeks. Yeah, every 2 to 4 weeks.
And then, is this something that you can book? Like, with people like, listen, I don't trust myself to do that to myself. Like, I can't wax myself, for example. Listen, I'll sit and text while my waxing lady's doing my wax. But if it's reliant on me pulling that wax strip off, it's going to stay there. Okay. So can people book this? Like, is it somewhere that they can Google or look up? Or?
Absolutely. There's quite a lot of clinics that do this. And it's quite sort of standard. Yeah. Yeah, so you can definitely do that. Yeah.
And is it like an explosion? Like, how do they prepare?
Right. So I've got more experience with the enemas, because that's the one that I do and my clients do. Yeah. So if you do an enema, everyone, once again, is very, very different. Some people, it's not really an explosion per se, but you will have the urge, obviously, to use the toilet. Yeah. And so you take the coffee enema, and then you hold it for at least sort of 10 to 12 minutes, because what's happening is it's got like a natural dialysis. It's going to it's going to your liver, pulling out the toxins, and then it's coming out of you, and that's what you need, because our livers are so overburdened. I mean, there's, as I say, there's just too many things in the atmosphere, even if you've got the best diet ever, that guaranteed your livers will be, so you need to be doing something to clean out your liver. So this is a great way of cleaning out your liver. And then once, when you actually, without going too graphic, but when you go into the toilet, it can come out quite quickly, because you have an urge, and especially if it's your first time. I always say give yourself a lot of time. Oh, well, you're going to go to the clinic anyway, but give yourself time, because it's the kind of thing where it's your first time and you will probably have an urge to go about 2 minutes. And so you just go. But then when everything's come out, you feel amazing.
Do you feel like it stops bloating as well?
Yes.
Do you think it impacts
stops bloating?
Because you said something to me once about the females and that that stomach fat that so many of us struggle with. I can't remember exactly what you said, but
we're bunged up.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some people think it's belly fat, but it's actually because it's just old feces and you just stuck in your colon. And so if you can get rid of it, you're amazing. Some people lose, when they do the colonics, they lose about 5-6 pounds just like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's got nothing to do with the fact that they're overweight. It's because they've just got too much rubbish in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I done a thing called, I don't know if you've seen that like a thing you put on your arm. What did you say? I done a thing called, it's called Zoe.
I don't know much about that actually. I've seen it advertised.
Yeah, they done like a 14-day like a free testing. So I just thought I'd try it. It's like where you put the patch on and it tests your like blood sugars and things.
Yeah.
And then you do like a stool test. And then I think it was a blood test as well. Yeah, I think you do a blood test as well. and it comes back with all the good bacteria you have in your body.
Oh, right.
and
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
actually very interesting. And whenever you eat something, you just tap your phone on the it's like a little circle thing, like a little chip in there,
Yeah.
and it tells you what your blood sugars are, or if something spiked your blood
Oh,
sugars.
that's very good, actually.
Yeah, it's really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's quite expensive if you do it throughout, like on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see what foods sort of raise my blood sugar. And
Yeah.
there's this. I drink a lot of like tea. It's a ginger and lemon tea.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes I add honey. So
That was like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not. It doesn't go all the way. It still stays in the sort of bracket but it does.
Yeah.
Push it. How good or bad is honey for you? If it's
No,
organic?
honey is really
I don't
good.
have sugar. I only have honey.
You don't. Okay, I think honey is good. It's got so many
It should be organic.
properties. It should be organic. Yeah.
Yeah, I buy like there's
definitely.
one on Amazon, like a refined 100% honey. that I sort of
Okay,
buy.
I think pure natural honey is the best.
Yeah.
And with honey, it's got antibacterial properties.
Okay.
It's really good. Obviously for colds and
Yeah.
things, your immunity. So honey is good for you. Obviously not in excess because
So what's
then.
excess then? If I have a spoon
Probably
a day.
if you're having like a spoon in your tea or
Yeah.
something, so like your herbal tea, that's fine.
Okay.
But
So-
so it's when you keep sort of having lots and lots, then it adds up. Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause
I
it's still sugar.
remember as a child being given cod liver oil
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah,
Is that
and you
good?
hated it.
Yeah, of course.
It's good. Cod liver
Yeah,
oil
cod
is
liver
very
oil
good
is
for
good,
you. Yeah,
What
because
does that do?
so cod liver oil's got vitamin D in it. It's got a little bit of vitamin D, which obviously helps with your like bones, and it's great. I mean, it's great for children because it helps with their bone formation. It can help with just even how you feel. Actually, funny enough, it's good for moods as well.
Okay.
It's good for just how your joints sort of slide over each other. It's just that's that kind of thing. So it's good for you.
And then my son Ezra, he's now on this whole thing where they have, what does he call it? A brain break
Oh, okay.
in school. So he has a brain break, but in that time they eat fruit.
Okay.
Is that a thing or?
I've never heard of that.
A break? Is it
Brain
also
break.
they're not thinking about anything? Are they?
So they stop learning for
Yeah.
a minute. They take in some fruit, and then they have
Very
some
new age
fruit, and
things.
then they go again.
Okay. No, I haven't heard that. So, unless it's like just another name for a break. I don't know.
Or
Yeah,
just
but
to
they
eat
actually call
healthy?
it a brain
call it
break.
brain break.
Yeah, and they feed their brain something else other than.
So it's but feeding them good things, obviously.
Yeah,
It's
so
having
they
fruit.
obviously will like have like some fruit
Yeah.
or whatever. Then they'll go back to learning,
Okay.
and they do that twice a day or 3 times a day. I
Unless
think.
it's trying to make them conscious of what they're actually eating, because sometimes we're just eating away, aren't we? And you don't really think. So I don't know. I've never heard of that.
No, so he said that it's to help him learn.
Oh,
Like it's supposed to make it more effective.
okay. I don't know. I don't know about that one. See, I'm learning so much here. Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, I think they're trying to trick the kids to eat fruit a bit more.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't
They call it a brain break.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's like, Mummy, I need a brain break.
Oh, that's so
You-
funny.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, as we're going to the wash up, I need a break.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like you know.
I'll give you a brain break.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming.
Okay.
Can you tell everyone where they can find you if they
Yeah,
need
and how they can
help or?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram
Okay.
at Alexandra Consultancy with a C at the end,
Okay.
not Y. Or you can go into my website, which is www.alexandraconsultancy.com. And I'm happy to do consultations and speak to people
Yeah.
about their if they've got any problems like
Yeah.
illnesses and things like that. Yeah.
What services do you offer?
Right, so there's quite a few. So I do the hair strand tests,
Yeah.
as I say. Also the parasite cleanses. I do consultation with that and how to use them. And also if there's some people that have had some kind of vaccine injury.
Okay.
And so we've got a product called Spike Protein Protector, which helps to literally repair the damage that's happened with some of them. So we do that. And then I do consultations where people come and we do usually online.
Yeah.
And they'll tell me what's going on in their body and then we'll look at how we can rectify it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And you do green juices.
And green juices, yes,
juices,
thank you.
Yeah, my wife's she's on those, boy.
Yeah.
She likes that green juice.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, drink this.
You're like, all right then.
Yeah. But it's good for you. I do feel better. Like,
You do.
It's not just the green ones you do, right? You do the there's the other one,
I
right?
do the ginger shots, and then I
Yeah.
do tailor make things as well.
Yeah.
So if somebody's got, for instance, high blood pressure,
Yeah.
there'll be a certain type of juice that I wouldn't just give to everyone. It'll be just tailor made for them.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
your
me.
time.
Thank
It's
you.
been
That was
lovely.
really interesting,
Yeah,
and we're
very
gonna
insightful.
all go organic. Green juice in the morning, no oats,
No oats, Sarah.
hair strand,
Brain break.
brain
Brain
break,
break.
and coffee enema.
Coffee enema, yay.
I'll leave that one to you.
It's quite easy. Honestly, it's so easy. When you do it, it's
Yeah.
like you feel so good. And also, I was going to say, with the coffee enema, what you do find as well, if you're somebody who suffers from anxiety or low moods, when you take it, because you're literally stripping out all the toxins from your gut, you feel amazing. And it happens like that. It's amazing how quickly it does it.
Is that the only way to take it? Is there not any
I mean, so far as
like a pill I can take? Or something?
so far as you're keeping your gut healthy, that's the
Okay,
most
yeah.
important thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So there's different ways to do that. You can have probiotics and parasite cleanses and things like that.
Yeah, I need
But
to
you
actually
need
do
to
that.
do
Yeah.
coffee enema.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go under. Genuine mistake.
Yeah, then when you start needing to go
Just wake
toilet,
up
you're gonna wake up and someone's like holding you on the
my
toilet.
gosh. I was gonna walk over that and say, he's awake.
I would actually pay good money to see that. Oh my
That
god.
would not be televised.
We should actually
Somebody's done
show
that,
you.
actually.
We should actually film you and see like how
No,
you.
we're not doing that.
That'd be hilarious.
I'm struggling with doing it in a
I
room
think
by
we should
myself.
both go and like be interviewed
I'm not
afterwards.
doing it
and
with my
see.
sister
Is
on
it
TV.
before?
Do you want him to
Before
do
and
it?
after?
Write it and request
Don't
it.
write it. It's not happening. You get 100,000 votes.
I remember when I was researching coffee enemas, and there was a guy who actually did do that. You know, he showed you, documented everything,
Yeah, I think
and
that's really
Really?
cool. We
his
should do
face and
that.
everything, which
Yeah.
you didn't really want to see, but yeah, it was quite something.
I think Dominic could be hilarious with that. We want it. The people want it.
Thank you.
On that note,
On that note,
Thank
Thank you.
you.
see you later.